Yo, what's going on, good people? It's your boy Corey, man, owner of Geeks Clothing Company and host of Geeks to Masters. This this is Geeks 1% Club.
We don't accept it. All that is, we reject it. Yeah. Geek gang. Geek gang. This that Geeks 1% Club. You can't sit with us, step up. Big brain, big data, big dub.
What's happening? What's happening, good people? How y'all been? I know. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. I've been dealing with a lot of personal things, things that's been keeping me away from the mission. But it's no excuse. It's no excuse. I kind of wanted to stay consistent with these. I wanted these dropping every single Tuesday. But things happen, life happens, and we had to adapt and we had to adjust and we had to deal with what we had to deal with. So for those who are still hanging on, still waiting on a new ep, I appreciate y'all, man. We back. Those of you who are new to the channel, this is the Geeks 1% Club. We don't do nothing here but talk about real things, intellectual topics, social topics, just life in general. And we try to dive in a little deeper than the average and try to figure things out. Think. You know what I'm saying? We ain't doing a lot of thinking. We're just doing a lot of living and, a lot of repetitive things. But this channel here, you can come here and we're going to think about things. We're going to go in depth. So I appreciate you showing up and welcome to the club. So on today's episode, right, I wanted to touch on something that's, is real important. Something that we can't lose once we get older, something we can't lose once we get comfortable. And that's curiosity. We got to remain curious. We got to remain curious, man. It's important. You get stagnant. You start thinking you know everything. You start moving like it's nothing else to learn. You're in trouble. So we got to remain curious. So that's something I want to talk about today. Curiosity. Now, curiosity isn't something, some people are born just naturally inquisitive. You meet some of these people, man, and they got a million questions. You know what I'm saying? They asking you, pow, 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 pow. They asking questions, and it's coming natural to them. They don't feel intrusive. They don't feel like, they getting on your nerves. It's just who they are. Some people possess this. And that's a good trait to have if you ask me. Because see, these types of people never want to stop learning. These types of people, they want to know more. They want to have an understanding. And that's a good thing to have, that's a good way to look at life. Anytime you're running into things and you feel like you already know, you don't know nothing. So these types of people, man, don't look at it like it's a weakness. Don't look at it like it's something that's intrusive or something meant to get on your nerves. It's actually a good trait to have. But everybody not born with that. Everybody, they're not born to just be naturally curious, to ask questions. And it's actually something that you can acquire. It's a skill that you can practice. It's something that you can get better at. If you're not born with that naturally curious spirit, then start practicing. Start practicing on being a little bit more curious. And one of those ways that you can do that is commit to asking at least one more question. At least one more question. If you're talking to somebody about a topic or somebody's talking to you about something and you may be done. Mentally you didn't, okay, cool. And you didn't got everything you feel you need. See if you can squeeze one more question in. One more question. One more, hey, well, because that'll just get you a little bit more information. It'll give you a little bit more understanding. It'll get you a little bit more closer to, feeling whole on the topic. It's good to ask questions, so let's start practicing being more curious. If it's not a trait that you already possess, let's build it. Let's build it. Let's start being naturally inquisitive, all right? Another thing that I feel like we can do is stay a beginner when you start learning new things. When you get into a new field, you start, messing around with new information, remain a beginner. And what I mean by that is when you first starting out something, when you starting a new job and you starting that training, when you first get into that first class, that first day of class, Your mind is open. It's wide open to information. It's wide open to concepts. You know, you are a sponge because you know you're gonna need this information in order to work the job that you're trying to do. So that beginner mindset is very important for us to harness and for us to keep because it just allows us the room to still be teachable. Um, you got to be teachable. Life is forever evolving. Things, people, business, everything is evolving. It's always changing and it has to change because the world is always changing and we have to adapt and we have to adjust. So, in order to properly absorb all of the information you're going to need in order to function, in order to survive, in order to do whatever you're doing in your field of expertise, you're going to need to stay a beginner mentally. You're going to need to be that sponge because there's always new ways, there's always new methods being introduced, it's always new things that you need to know to do your business or to do whatever you're trying to do a little bit more effectively. So let's try to stay a beginner mentally, man. Um, that's important to me. I spoke on expertise. A lot of things that hold us back from learning more is us feeling like we done became an expert. We feel like we know it through and through. You might have got that certificate, you might have got that, that completion medal or whatever, but that doesn't mean it's still not room to grow. You got to keep that growth mindset. You got to keep that mindset like, hey, even though I graduated, even though I got all the knowledge that they have to offer me, there's other knowledge out here as well. So always check different sources, look for different avenues of knowledge, look for other people that are in your field of expertise that may have different perspectives on what you do, and then you'll learn more. So just keep that growth mentality and don't let the fact that you've become an expert in something stop you from learning new ways of doing what you do. All right, that's important to me. Um, remaining curious doesn't just help you in the business aspect or, you know, professionally, but it also helps you to build better relationships with people. You know, I know, I know it's not, but when you remain curious, right, it helps you to it helps you to be able to make people feel more heard and valued. Fellas, your girl get out of work. She don't had a day, one of them days, and it done took a lot from her. You can see it in her face, you see it in her energy, you feel it, and it's like, wow, she done went. She it was one of them days for her. Talk to her about her day, and she's telling you what's going on. She's telling you all the problems she had. She's telling you everything that went down, and you listening. Eye contact. You're attentive. You listening. You know what would make her feel more valued and more heard is if you start asking about what happened. Don't just sit there and listen. Don't just sit there and just be a wall. Ask her about it. Well, hey, what happened? What would they say? Wow. And how'd they handle that? How'd that make you feel? I mean, if somebody was asking you questions like that, wouldn't that make you feel like they cared about you a little more? It'll make you feel like, hey, the things that I'm talking about, you know, mean something to this person. Hence, that would make them feel better. Because now they feel like they got somebody that actually cares. Being curious gives you that power, man. Give you being curious, remaining curious, not just listening to her, waiting to speak or waiting to respond, but actually asking meaningful questions, showing an actual interest. These things help relationships, man. These things make people feel better, man. They feel bad. They feel more valued, and you learn more about your partner. You learn more about how they feel. You learn more about how they think. You learn more about what they experience throughout their day. It's just a deeper connection. It's a more meaningful connection with the people. So ask questions, be inquisitive, and care enough to show interest, show genuine interest, and learn more about your people. You know, these things build stronger bonds, in my opinion. So remain curious in your relationships, man. I'm telling you, it's gonna help you. It's gonna help you. I'm telling you. Um, another thing about being curious is, innovation starts with a question. It starts with how can I change something to make it better? Or there's a demand for something, how can I supply it? You know, or what if I did this? Or why does that do that? Asking these questions sparks creation, and creation sparks innovation. See, if we're not, I'm always dialed it back, to social media and us being programmed because I really want to disconnect us from it, man. I really want to get us out of this whole regurgitation and absorption of just everything else that's going on out there and not coming up with no organic thought. No organic thought, man. Something that spawns from you. I really want y'all doing that, man. These things are gonna. I believe this is what's gonna change the world when we get back into ourselves, when we get back into figuring out who we are, and not just looking at what everybody else is doing. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, man. A lot of these people you watching are watching somebody else. Let me say that one more time. Let me just the people you watching, the people you're so engulfed in, and that's taking up so much of your attention and so much of your intention. These people, a lot of times, if they not original innovators, they're watching somebody else. They're being inspired by somebody else's content or somebody else's lifestyle. Sometimes you could tell by how they post and how they do things. So, I say that to say this: be innovative. Ask questions that help you spark creation, and then let that creation help you to be an innovative person, somebody who creates something or changes something in a way that improves life as we know it, man. That's what we need. We need more innovators. We need more question askers. And I want y'all to really do that because when you ask questions and you dig deep into your mind and you start creating things, it encourages experiments. You start figuring things out. You start saying, okay, well, this doesn't work, but this does. You know, in this group of people, this kind of was better, but in this group of people, it didn't really work. Why? You start asking questions, you start figuring things out, and then you can bring about real change. So remain curious, man. That brings about innovation. Let's start changing the world. Leaders ask questions. We don't just sit back and just take what somebody tells us. Oh, this, that. Oh, okay. Well, why? Oh, well, this happened because of that, and then that's why. Okay, well, all right, cool, cool, cool. How though? You want more information. You want to be able to back something against what you already know. All right, so let's remain curious. Let's be leaders and let's ask questions. All right. Another thing being curious does is it keeps life interesting, man. That mundane day to day routine is repetitive. It's making us robots. It's making us just cyborg androids that are plugged into this system that just moves about life in the same way exactly every single day. No, 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 no. See, routine is good. Good, healthy routines in the morning to get your day started. Good structured routine to keep you on point as far as your goals and your aspirations. These types of routines are good for you. But when we're not asking no questions, when we're not trying to figure out something new, when we're not trying to explore ourselves and figure out new crevices and new things that dwell within us, life becomes boring. It starts to become repetitive and it's the same exact thing. And what that does is it makes your mind, it puts it in this box of just nothing. But see, when you remain curious, when you expose yourself to new things, different avenues, different people, different experiences, life becomes more open. It starts to become more interesting. It starts to become something worth living again in a way that's not just repetitive and reinforcing our survival nature, but it's something that then turns us into something else. It turns us into something else. And you want that change to happen because you never know what the next stage of your evolution is. Don't stun it. Don't stunt your evolution. Ask questions, figure out what works, figure out what doesn't work. Hey, you're not the same person you were 2 years ago. And the things that you were doing 2 years ago may not align with the world you're living in, may not align with the things that you're trying to do. But you won't know that if you just bury yourself in the repetitive nature of your day to day. No, no. Figure out new ways. Figure out new things. Learn more things about you, and life becomes that much more wonderful. Keep a sense of wonder. Go out here and explore. You know, you don't necessarily have to be curious verbally. You can be curious physically. If it's a patch of woods somewhere about where you live, or it's a park or a national park or somewhere where you can get out there in nature, get out there and move around, man. Get to looking at things again. There's some stuff you haven't touched since you was a kid. Man, I took a walk, man. I took a walk on the trail I usually go to. I take a walk every morning. And it's either on the trail, on the treadmill, or I hit the park, hit the track, however I want to do it. But when I hit that trail, man, I take them walks. I'm looking at stuff. I'm picking up sticks. I'm sitting in areas to where I haven't sat in a long time. I'm sitting in fields of grass and just laying out. You know, I'm feeling the dirt in my hands, and I'm just getting back in touch with nature. But all of these things, all of these acts are curious acts, are things of me trying to, discover new things about myself, discover new things about nature, about the world around me. You know what I'm saying? Revisit memories that I haven't visited in a long time. When's the last time you just went and played in the woods, just kicked it? Breathe in the fresh air and listen to the birds chirp, feel the earth beneath your feet, you know? When the last time you did that? It's been a minute, I know. So, let's start getting back curious, not just verbally, but physically. Let's start putting ourselves in more environments that we haven't been in a while, or environments that we've never visited ever. You never know what you'll learn about yourself. You never know what you enjoy now. So, let's remain curious, man. Let's keep living. Let's keep that sense of wonderment. Let's build better relationships. And if you're not born to be naturally inquisitive and curious, it's a skill you can acquire. Ask one more question a day. Do a little bit more research than you would normally do. Put yourself in circles and environments that you normally wouldn't put yourself in. And let's just see. Let's see what comes about. If you don't like it, if it hits up against your morals and principles and it's not right for you, exit the building. Leave. Free will, you can do what you want. All right? But it goes the same way the other way. You can do what you want. You can go and figure it out. You don't have to be stuck in a box. You don't have to be a certain kind of person. You don't have to be the person the world is telling you to be. See, this club is about helping you to figure out you. It ain't about me. Hey, man, I don't want nothing. I don't want nothing from you. All I want you to do is figure out who you are, and we all gonna be more well off, man. I believe that. I believe that. So, let's remain curious, man. Let's stay geeks about it. Let's always change the perception one impression at a time. And never forget, man, the opposite of curiosity is certainty. All right? The moment we believe that there's nothing else to be learned, growth stops. All right? I appreciate y'all stopping by in the club, man. Like I said, it's been a minute, but we back on roll. You feel me? We doing this thing. We ain't gonna stop. The mission is still necessary. Therefore, I'm still gonna fight. So let's keep going, man. Again, sorry for the wait, but we back in the mode. Let's change the perception one impression at a time. If it's your first time here, welcome to the club. And if you're a returning member, you already know how we rocking out. Until next time.
This that Geeks 1% club. You can't sit with us, step up. Big brain, big data, big dog.